BlogTalk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of a conversation about your Kundalini awakening experiences. My name is Chrism, and we're just going to dive right in now. Well, let me bring Her Holiness on here in just a second. I'd like to introduce a lady who is instrumental in the greatness that she adds to the groups on Facebook and on Yahoo and her own blog spot, which is Kundalini Matters. She is the one that is providing the funding for this show, for this program to go on. I am very, very, very happy to introduce you, in this program at least, because we've introduced her plenty of times before, to Her Holiness, Amelia Santara. Hello, Amelia.
Hi, Chrism. Hi, everyone. Good to be here.
Just want to thank you for all the things that you provide for so many, in so many different ways on the groups on Facebook and on Yahoo and on your own Kundalini Matters group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chrism. It's an honor, a privilege, and I'm very happy to do it. Thank you.
And so we'll just continue with this now. Last month or last week, Amelia, was I talking about the Passion of Kundalini? Was that last week?
No, not last week. The previous week, I think.
Well, I got more to say about the Passion.
It's supposed to hear now, Chrism memory. Yeah. Okay.
There's more to say
about.
So
that's what we're talking about this week.
Right.
Good.
Right. So
good. Okay. Look forward
Passion
to
of
it.
Kundalini number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and start into this. With the Kundalini, you have to realize that you can have all the spiritual potential in the world, and if you don't have the drive or the gumption or the passion to bring yourself into a daily practice of something that would be nutritious to the Kundalini within you, such as the safeties, or just pick a piece of the safeties or part of the safeties, such as forgiveness. You could have the most amazing karma and the most amazing potential, but if you do not add your own passion, your own willingness to do the work, then it's all going to come for nothing. You'll be a good player, but you won't be a collegiate player or a professional player because you just don't have that level of inner force guiding you to do this work, guiding you to make the changes that's really necessary for you to make. Kundalini doesn't really care about your feelings. Your ego cares about your feelings. Kunalini doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't have an ego body, even though it understands the ego body. I mean, it's just part of the whole designer process for allowing a spirit without a body to come in to a spirit with a flesh body. And so Kundalini does understand the ego. It wants you to take the ego out of the captain's chair. It wants you to take the ego out of the controlling position that it has been in for most of your life. And so certain things will get introduced to you that just do not make sense to you because they do not incorporate levels of pleasure, levels of satisfaction, levels of payout, levels of what the ego would appreciate. Often, the Kundalini is giving you things that the ego does not appreciate. And you got to remember, pretty much all the self-talk that we do throughout the day, 24/7, that is generated typically by the ego. It is not generated by the higher mental functioning self, although that can come in every now and again. But most of the self-talk is generated by the ego. And so, of course, the Kundalini is going right after that ego and right after the control vectors that it has over the choices that you make in life. And this includes the choices of how you feel about what is occurring, how you feel about the refinement that the Kundalini is going to put you through with regards to any aspect of your life that is resisting the Kundalini. So, for instance, with the refinements that the ego is going to go through. So this has a direct effect upon your levels of self-esteem, your levels of self-validation, your levels of self-judgment. That inner dialogue that I was just talking about will also be affected by this. And you need to understand that Kundalini isn't really all about pleasure. Yes, pleasure can be a huge part of the deal, but it's just part of the deal. It's not the whole deal. Okay? So it's very, very important for people to understand that even though they're having the Kundalini, they've got all the symptoms going on, and they're in pain. Chrism, I'm doing the safeties, I'm doing everything the Kundalini is asking me to do. How come I still feel pain? Well, you still feel pain because there are certain areas within your ego that are resisting the processing that the Kundalini wants to give to you. And sometimes pain is required anyway. Talk to any 2-year-old that's having teething pain. And ask the question to the Kundalini, oh, Sacred Mother, why do I have to go through all this pain? Oh, well, Sacred Child, it's because you need to be able to chew later on. There are tremendous levels of pleasure that come from the Kundalini, just tremendous, off-the-chart levels of bliss, levels of ecstasy, levels of samadhi. I mean, the exalted layers of love just go on and on and on ad infinitum. If there's a never-ending procession and experience, tactile and emotional, of supreme layers of love that the Kundalini will blanket the person with every now and again, but not all the time. Because then the person just basically turns into a bliss bunny. And that's all they pursue. They just pursue the bliss. They don't pursue the refinement. They don't do the processing work. They don't do these things that are absolutely essential to the Kundalini process. Instead, they look for pleasure. And so it becomes this kind of a pleasure-based masturbation theme for people to just go out and get the pleasure and then forget about it until they want to get it again. And this is why the Kundalini will insert levels of pain, levels of enforced compromise, levels of enforced egotistical validation. I mean, looking at the ego and saying, well, why are you allowing this ego to take the place of your higher mental functioning self? Very, very, very important for people to understand, how this works. The more you know, the easier it is for you to process what's going on. The more you know, the more you can respond to. The more you can respond to, the further you can go. The more you know, as I said before in many other shows, information is power with the Kundalini. So the more information, and I have to say that it's got to be good information. It can't be just something you read on the web where somebody says, oh, Kundalini makes you grow, will change your ears into popcorn. You can't just rely on any. You got to have authentic, truthful, honest information. And oftentimes this means taking out the greed factor. Taking out the factor of getting rich by giving people information, because sometimes if you're selling information, people won't take it as seriously as they would be in other scenarios. Wow, that's really weird. My phone just jerked on by itself with the microphone. This is a Kundalini thing. It's so weird. Oh my God. My phone, my iPad Plus, right? Year and a half old, turned itself on, turned the microphone on, and I had to manually just now turn it off. Isn't that amazing? Hello, folks. It's either Kundalini or Apple. Anyway. Here we go. Just a second. Don't talk so fast. Take a break. I need to do a sound check. I just got that little notice there from BlogTalk. So, Vincent or Phil, can you let me know if this sound is reaching the chat room? Can you go ahead and type a yes or no? Sound is good. Sound isn't good. And I'll go ahead and just continue. But see if I can get some sort of a sound check going on. Bartolomiej, can you also type away and let me know if you're hearing this program? Let me Okay, so don't quite know. I'm going to go over here to Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hey, can you hear the show? Is it going well? I'm not getting any kind of feedback from the chat room.
It's going really well. I can hear it wonderfully, but I'm on my iPhone, so I don't know about the computer, but on the phone it's loud and clear. Sounds great.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I see you're back, Santara.
Yes, Chrism. Even if there is a bit of a problem, I will go now and refresh the chat page. But keep talking, because last week I checked and you were completely heard on the archive. So I say keep going and let me look after the chat room there and see if I can refresh it.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you very much. Okay, well, continuing then. So with regards to these further deep processings that the Kundalini will bring a person towards, I don't want you to come into this expecting all kinds of pleasure. A lot of the garbage that the Kundalini is going into your process and you know, digging out of the closet, digging out of the bathroom, digging out of the kitchen, digging out from under the house, digging from anywhere she can find it. She is helping you fill up the garbage bags and place them in front of the house. And really there is a big issue with the Kundalini pushing people to clean out stuff that they don't necessarily want to clean out. This is where the gumption that I spoke of earlier. This is where the passion and the drive to do this work comes into play. I mean, I know that until you start cleaning something, you don't really want to clean it. You don't want it to get up, oh my God, you know, clean up the kitchen, clean up the room, whatever it is. But once you start getting into it, you can really make a lot of headway into it. And it's spring now, and so I invite everyone listening to this to do a level of internal spring cleaning and let the Shakti guide you to where she knows some of the most damaging levels of garbage that may be hiding somewhere in your system, and let her bring that out and help her to bring it out. Don't run away from this level of work. You must do this work, or you're just going to keep piling up the garbage, and pretty soon, you know, for some folks, that garbage is all going to come cascading down upon them, all at the same time. And boom, then you're into a very deep fragmentation that could require hospitalization. And so you don't want to go there. You want to allow and work in partnership with your Shakti Kundalini, the sacred mother aspect of the Kundalini, and Go into your process with her and let her show you what you need to do in order to clean things up within you. It's not always going to be pleasant. People really get fixated on this idea. Well, isn't Kundalini supposed to be blissful? And it is blissful. It absolutely is blissful. But within the transformational process, when you're going from mundane humanity to semi-divine humanity, there's a huge level of detoxification and purification that needs to occur. And that is also going to be needed by you to participate in that level of cleaning, of purification within you. You need to participate. This is where the passion steps in. This is where that extra drive kicks in. It's not just dribbling the basketball, down the court and putting the basketball into the basket, maybe on your third try. This is going full on with levels of strong interest, strong focus, strong conditioning, and not only putting that basketball through the basket, but flying through the air in a Michael Jordan style layup and stuffing that ball in the basket. You see, between the two circumstances, there's very, very different scenarios between the two. So look to where your passion is. You may have had Kundalini 30, 40 years ago. You may have had it that long ago, and you didn't know what it was, and a bunch of different things were happening to you, and you had no reference points for it. And now, 30, 40 years later, you've got the Kundalini, you're going, oh, gosh, what do I do with it now? Same thing that I'm talking about now. Kundalini doesn't really have an appreciation of time. Time is for humans. Time is for humans to learn how to transition between the seasons of the world. Time is for humans to learn how to organize their life from past, present, and future. Time doesn't really matter to the Kundalini. Past, present, future, it's all the same. It's still a river. And the Kundalini doesn't really care about how you appreciate your time. After 40 years, you just get right back to work. Get right back on that saddle, get right back on that horse, and get right back to work. Because you'll have to do it eventually. You can think, oh gosh, I just feel, I feel so good right now. I just want to retire. I want to stick my feet in the lake, and I just want to relax and fish and drink beer and smoke pot and do all these things, and I'll let the Kundalini go for this. I'll just be fine without it. I'll wait for my next life. I hear that quite a bit. I'll wait for the next life to come around. Then I'll do the work when that next life comes around. And you just don't understand how difficult it is for people to restart a Kundalini process. And when you purposefully, through laziness or another similar type of issue, put off Kundalini work, that compounds the difficulty levels in the next life when you're a child. And what level of Kundalini has come to you? Well, now it's come to you, and now because you're a kid, you don't really know how to handle it, and depending on your parents, it can really, really cause a deep level of fear and other issues along the lines of fear in your life as a child. So take the time now in this lifetime. It's not being offered to you so you can just put it off. And for people that are like that just tuned in a little while ago, we're talking about the Passion of Kundalini. Once again, this is not a repeat. This is a continuation. This is Passion of Kundalini Part 2. Okay. And so it just, and it was suggested to me earlier today that this would be a very, very good topic for the program because people are actively going through this right now as we speak. People are being possessed by entities. People are being possessed and traumatized by their resistance to to the Kundalini itself, to the Kundalini herself, as she tries to really begin to help the individual come into a level of strong, passionate acceptance of the Kundalini life that they are already in, whether they like it or not. Okay? The strong, passionate acceptance of this is extremely important to people. Extremely, extremely important to people. And that goes, too, with the passion behind learning how to take an entity out of your space. Okay? And right now I'm going to go to a gentleman here who is listening. And I'm going to bring him on. Hi, Vincent.
Oh, shit. Oh, hey, Master Chrism.
How are you?
Can you hear me? Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, that's great. Oh.
So well, you've got this entity. You've got an entity inside you that's causing you problems, right?
Oh, yeah, severe problems, I would say.
And what are you doing to remove this entity from your space?
Well, basically, from my understanding and what you said in the first show when I called in the first time, the entity is using karma to control me. Basically, resistance and lack of resistance or whatever it uses to move my body. And so what I'm doing is I am trying to balance it out. But I don't really know what he's using.
What
are
you doing? What are you doing to try to balance it out?
Well, I remember on the chat on the Facebook you said resist it all the time. So that's what I did. I tensed up. I just I tensed it up all the time. So basically, when he tries to move me, I'm completely tense, and thereby he can no longer move me that easily.
Now you say he. Have you determined a gender for this entity?
No, not really. I don't care.
You're just calling it a he.
Yeah. Are
you taking any alcohol?
No, not at all. No alcohol, no caffeine, no drugs, nothing.
No pharmaceutical medications.
No stimulants. No stimulants.
Good. Excellent. Are you taking spices, hot spices?
No. For the most part, no. As much as I can, but sometimes, yeah. But it's rare.
I want you to make your food as bland as you can stand it.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Well, basically,
without any sugar.
Okay.
Good. I also want you to start forgiving anybody that has caused you problems in your past.
Okay. I'm also doing that very intensely. I'm even forgiving the entity for what it's doing to me. Basically, I'm receiving so much new trauma. For instance, today. Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
For instance, today I was sitting at the bus stop and he threatened me. Yeah, I'm gonna hit your head against the wall behind you. He's doing that. I don't know what this is. It's a thought, an imagination. Basically, I imagine my head going boom against the wall behind me. So, but I ignored it. I relaxed, and then boom, and I was blacked out for like a split second.
Yeah, you want to resist that.
How do I resist it? What do I do?
What you do is get out of the bathtub.
What are you talking about?
That would be a way of resisting. It would be to get out of the bathtub.
I wasn't in the bathtub. I was at the bus stop.
I'm sorry. You're saying I wasn't at the bathtub. I was at the bathtub.
No, in the in the public where buses go. You know, you can sit there. It's a little housing. You know.
Oh,
it's a bus stop.
Yeah, the bus stop. Exactly.
Stop.
Bus stop. It's the accent.
Where the bus comes. It's the accent.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I heard bathtub. I mean, bus stop, bathtub.
Okay, sorry.
So you're at the bus stop. So stand up and do something else that doesn't allow your head to be unprotected. I mean, there are so many different ways you can resist this, especially when it's warning you.
Yeah, that is true. But for example, what if he's warning me to take my knuckles, make a fist, and hit on my head with all my strength? What am I going to do then?
Put your hand in your pocket.
Yeah, but that's what I'm doing. So yeah, not all the time, but sometimes. But the thing is, he's not doing that. He's not doing it slowly or with any sort of.
You just have to be consistent with this, Vincent. You can't just do it part of the time and then forget about it the other part of the time. It has to be all the time, consistent resistance to this entity, but without, like you say, I think you're doing well with forgiving it. You don't need to go into anger over it.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, good.
But I'm taking physical damage, I think.
You're sustaining physical damage because you're allowing that to occur.
Well, sometimes I'm allowing it to occur, but sometimes I don't know. I don't see any way to resist.
Well, there is no easy way. What about who brought the easiness of this into the conversation?
No one did. I didn't expect it to be easy. I don't expect it to be easy. But for example, what do I do if he just jerks my head from the left to the right with full on, like, what do I do? How do I put my hands around my head and then just squeeze it?
Yes, if that works. If it works, Vincent.
Okay. How do I stop? How do I prevent the motor control? Because it's going on for a year now.
By intending it, by saying, I have seniority in this body. This is my body. I choose when it moves. I choose when it holds still. Okay, this is part of that passion. This is part of the passion that I'm talking about earlier today. You have to become passionately involved with yourself and with the Kundalini within you. I mean, if this was truly a malevolent entity, it wouldn't even really communicate with you. The fact that it's communicating with you saying, I'm going to hit your head against the bus stop right now, it's a clear warning and a clear opportunity for you to go, oh, no, you're not.
Okay, you're saying I can do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
You said in the last, I don't know how many times, ignore the entities, ignore whatever it does, ignore it. I ignored it. I did what you said.
Well, you ignore it, but you don't, by ignoring it, you don't allow it to have its way with you.
Okay.
It's like
it worked better for the last 3 months.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. It worked better for the last 3 months, where I tensed up, I resisted, I tried to continuously assert my body, basically. But the thing is, now I have so much resistance, so much accumulated resistance inside of me. I have trouble moving my eyes. I'm completely tense. So I have to relax.
Yes.
I cannot sustain that kind of resistance.
No. You can have relaxed resistance too. It's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of how much energy you put into, how much intention, how much passion, how much love, how much care, how much self-discipline you put in to having your space the way you and your Kundalini want it to be. You are being taught how to control your inner space right now. This is a huge education for you. Now, when I say ignore the entities, that means don't do what they're telling you to do. That means don't allow them to have their way with you. That doesn't mean you communicate with them.
Okay, I see.
If the entity says, I'm going to slam your head into the bus stop, you just make sure that you stand up. Move away from the bus stop. It's that easy.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, anytime that it warrants.
He's warning me beforehand. Most of the time, it's really accurate.
Right. Anytime it warns you, well, then you just do something that is the opposite of what it wants to do.
Okay, that's true. But I mean, he can have, some entities have control, thought control, whatever. Why does he have motor control and he's really strong?
Because first of all, you have the Kunalini, number one. Second of all, Kunalini is allowing this. Third of all, Kundalini allows specific levels of amplification to occur. And fourthly, you've been allowing this entity through, I think, a misunderstanding of what I said earlier, to do whatever it wanted with you by me telling you to ignore it. You kind of interpreted that as ignoring and allowing instead of ignoring and resisting.
Okay. Well, okay, I see. But resistance, for me, what I do is I hold on to myself, basically. I don't let it go and let it flow, but I hold on to it.
Hang on a second. I'm having a look here. Just a second. Oh, okay. I'm going to bring Laranya on here. Does Laranya have anything to say to Vincent, Miss Elizabeth?
I think what she's also trying, I'm trying to, hang on.
Just a second.
She's saying something about allowing that it's a distraction. That the entity, it's allowing a distraction away from his Kundalini. Maybe if he were maybe put more focus into his devotion and to his Kundalini specifically in the times of the distraction from the entity, so that it takes his ego focus away from that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Very good. Yeah, it does. That does. Very well. Well done. And many thanks to Laranya for that.
Sure.
Many thanks. Did you hear that, Vincent?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Now, do you have a devotional practice that you do?
Well, I do the safeties every morning, and basically what I do sometimes at the company, I'm going to a room doing the first Tibetan, doing the alternate nostril breathing. After my work time, I do the 5 Tibetans. Again, basically I'm at least doing the 5 Tibetans twice a day. I'm doing the alternate nostril breathing. But if you mean devotion, like I don't know, going down to my knees, no, I don't have that.
Well, first of all, it sounds to me like you're just doing the energetic generative practices of the safeties. You're not doing tolerance. You're not doing forgiveness.
I'm doing tolerance. Why? How would you do tolerance?
Tolerance is putting up with something that's irritating you without
I'm
letting.
doing that. I'm doing that. I'm not allowing myself to become irritated most of the time. Sometimes I cannot sustain this. But I'm trying as best I can. Understood.
And so what I think Laranya is saying is that you need to have a devotional practice. And this devotional practice will begin to take your ego focus off of the irritation that the entity is causing you and place it squarely into the arms and the heart of the Kundalini. And don't be surprised if that entity starts jumping in and saying, I'm the Kundalini, and basically faking it away.
Yeah, it does that.
Yeah. You just ignore that because you know the difference between the two, I'm sure, by now.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's resistance, numbness, or something. But basically, I have trouble moving my eyes. It's completely stiff, and my whole body, the normally the energy goes from down, and it's like flowing. Like warm, really warm, but I feel nothing of that. It's like completely numb.
You could just get up and move your body, go jogging, force yourself to get up. Don't think that it should just happen naturally. Force yourself to get up and do a jog. Do something that is, what that's doing is that's counteracting any of the numbness that perhaps the entity is putting you through. If it has motor control over how your nerve functions, then it may have that kind of control over your own level of passion. And so it's basically taking over your passion. And I want you to take that back.
Okay.
You decide what you want to do. And if it starts stiffening you up or if it starts to immobilize you, get up and do some movement. I don't care what time of day or night it is. You get up and you just start doing some jumping jacks or calisthenics or push-ups or some sort of an exercise that totally goes against what that entity may be pushing into you. And once again, you're not cussing at it. You're not saying in the name of Christ. You're not saying
I did it once. I've been ridiculous. Yeah, it doesn't work. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You could burn sage till the cows come home, and that's not going to work either.
Yeah.
This is an entity that's been given to you for very, very specific refinement opportunities. Now, this does not mean that because I'm phrasing it as an opportunity that you agree with the entity in any way. What you agree with is that the Kundalini is allowing you to go through this entity classroom right now.
Okay.
And that every second, every minute of the day, you're inside of a classroom that is teaching you to manage your inner energy and your inner space the way you want it to be, not the way the entity wants it to be. You might say that the entity can symbolize your ego. Okay? And you don't want that ego to be in the control seat. The only thing that deserves to be... I'm sorry?
I understand you.
Yeah.
Basically.
And so you want the Kundalini to be in the control seat. So we're going to get together, you and I, on Skype. And if you want to do it right after the show here, we can, or we can set another day time for that. And we're going to put into place in your process a devotional practice that I want you to do as many times as you do the 5 Tibetans.
Okay.
That devotional.
Well, I'm super grateful. I have to work tomorrow, but I don't care. What I'm going through, this is a priority for me.
It's definitely a priority. And ladies and gentlemen, there but for the grace of God go you when you listen to Vincent's scenario. I've had these entities come to me too. And I know other people have had the entities come to them. And let me tell you, it is not an easy thing. And the some of the energy that you hear in Vincent's voice is exactly how it feels to a person. You feel like your body's being hijacked.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This gives you a perfect opportunity, Vincent, to increase your passion towards Kundalini, not towards the entity, not towards society, not towards whatever belief system you may have been raised with, but straight to the Kundalini 24/7, even though you may have to get on a train or you may have to drive a car, you may have to go to work and do the work thing, and that's fine. You do all those things. But always in the back of your head, always, you are being devotional to the Kundalini. And we will do that. I know you have to work tomorrow, so I actually want you to go to sleep after this program.
No. Why? No, I don't care.
Well, I care because I know that when you're not well rested, those entities can have
much greater effect.
Yeah. So I want you to go to sleep tonight. But I'll Skype with you on a Friday night or some other night that we can get together, okay?
Yeah, you're most of the time you're not answering on Facebook, so I'm quite I don't know.
I'll write it out for you and email it to you in a way that you can understand as well, okay?
Okay, that would be nice.
Yeah, no worries, my friend.
But what the most concerning, I think, is that the control didn't get any weaker during the years when it started. It didn't get any weaker. I balanced all kind of emotions, all kind of things, changed my life in all kind of ways, quit all stimulants, basically doing what you say, but it's not getting weaker.
Well, the other thing is you want to. It's not a one-time shot.
Of course not.
Well, yeah, exactly. So when you're making these changes, I want to encourage people to realize that you're making changes consistently over a long period of time. So if you, let's just say if you stop smoking cigarettes, well, you didn't stop smoking cigarettes for a week or two.
Yeah, I
Stopped
stopped now,
smoking
but
them.
of
Period.
course.
Okay. All right.
But even consistently, it doesn't get weaker. I don't feel it getting weaker.
Well, you've been feeding the entity without knowing you've been feeding the entity.
With what?
With the misunderstanding that when I said ignore the entity, that means that the entity can do whatever it wants, instead of ignoring it and resisting its intention upon you.
Well, okay, let's say if he moves my head to the right, of course I'm resisting and putting it back where it was. Of course I'm doing that.
Good. And so you just have to keep doing that. But you already told me earlier that you thought that ignoring the entity just meant ignoring it and allowing it to do whatever it wants, right?
Well, okay, no, I'm basically, but how do I resist those really fast movements? Like how do you do that?
Once you find yourself doing the fast movement, you stop. The only time they can initiate that kind of a movement, based upon what level of access you've allowed them to have to you. If they're doing a quick movement, it has to be initiated before you have conscious awareness of it. So once you establish conscious awareness of it, that's when you initiate the
counter movement,
the refinement or the opposite movement, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. But sometimes it's so fast.
And I want you to continuously thank the Kundalini for the opportunity to have this level of refinement come to you. Show severe gratitude for the Kundalini to give you this classroom. Because I'll tell you what, Vincent, this does not go on forever. This definitely has an end in sight, okay? But you have to pass through a certain level of difficulty before that end can materialize for you.
Okay, I understand you.
So now, once we establish the devotional practice, and now that you've already established the idea that ignoring the entities doesn't mean that you're allowing the entities, okay? Now that these two areas here have been reestablished and explained in a greater detail, I think you'll see that entity not getting stronger.
Well, it's not getting stronger, but I'm not worried about slow movements, which I can resist easily. I'm only worried about those fast movements, those neck jerks or those head punches. That cause a lot of damage.
As much as you can, be aware of what your body parts are doing at any given moment. Much more so than you would normally have, Ben.
Okay.
Basically, it's a way of owning your space.
To be like in your body at all the parts, have some awareness at your parts at the same time.
To be mindful of that.
Okay.
Okay.
I will do that.
And you call us back next week. This next program next week, and let's get an update on how things are going with you, okay?
Oh, okay, I will. Yeah, okay, let's see. Yeah, okay.
If you can.
Of course, I'm always on the show, but most of the things I'm doing, and it's taking a long time. I don't know if there's much of a difference.
Keep trying. Now that we've had what new information have you just been given, Vincent?
Well, basically to keep my awareness in the body, make sure that I'm actually able to resist. Basically, I'm doing it out of fear already. For example, if you threaten to take my fist and punch the side of my head, I'm putting them below the table. For example, something like this.
Also, I want you to look at your level of grounding. Because you are in fear, this tends to take away your ground.
Yeah, it does. But the attacks are going on in a second. Okay.
I want you to focus on heavy exercise. I want you to focus on getting your feet in the soil, in the dirt. I want you to focus on trees. I want you to bring your roots from your feet and from your tailbone straight into the earth like the root of a tree. And I want you to send that entity, whenever you feel it, you send it down that grounding cord into the earth. Basically, you're sending it to the Shakti, because the Shakti is the sacred earth.
Oh, okay.
So use those techniques as well. I'd like you to get on the YouTube channel there and go over to the grounding video that I have in there. Just go grounding and Kundalini, or Kunalini and grounding in the search, and it'll take you right there.
Yeah.
And watch that video, okay?
Yeah. Well, but what about those neck movements? My neck, sometimes I hear my neck cracking. Is the Kundalini, basically I know that I cannot do something about every single movement, like
well,
about
you
those
can.
head.
You can.
Yeah,
I don't think that's true.
I cannot. There's still a little.
Mindfulness, Vincent. Mindfulness. You take charge of your body all the time. And as you do that, those minor spasms will stop. It's your body. It's your body. It only moves when you want it to move. You or your Kundalini. That's it. No other entity gets to do that. Okay?
Yeah, it's hard to.
I understand it's hard, and I'll be the first one to tell you it's not easy to do. I had to do it.
Okay.
And if I can
also,
do it,
like
I'm
this
sure
problem
do it.
with the movements.
It's not going to be easy, Vincent.
Okay.
You're going to have to apply yourself. This is where the passion comes in. You have to passionately support yourself in this process. I can give you all the information in the world, but unless you act on it with passion, it's not going to help you.
I see.
And I look forward to seeing you in Berlin as well.
Okay. Yeah, I want to come. Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right.
If you, for the energetic generation, if I'm already ungrounded, don't you think it makes sense to just turn that down?
I think you can keep those at consistent levels. I think that the grounding will actually empower you in tandem with the energetic generation. It's like electricity to some degree, even though Kundalini is not electricity. But the stronger the ground, the stronger the positive flow. You've got to have a strong negative in order to have a strong positive. Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
So if you have a negative terminal on your car battery that's all corroded and yucky and dirty,
not much energy flow.
Right, your car's not going to start. You clean that terminal up and it starts right off the bat.
Okay.
So we're just having you clean off that one terminal. And you do that with the grounding and with the exercise and with the forgiveness and the tolerance and the honesty and the truth and the confidence and the passion that you have in support of your enlightenment and your Kundalini.
Yeah, okay. Well, the confidence has lately really taken a hit because those.
Well, you build it back up. You build it back up because, my friend, you are in charge. You are in charge. You build that back up, okay? Can I hear an amen?
Huh? Amen.
Okay. All right, I'm going to put you in the blue, my friend. Thank you for calling me. All right, so there you have it, folks. I mean, especially certainly with the entity scenario, if you have an invading or an invasive entity, which is fairly common with Kundalini, we all go through this little classroom. I don't want anybody to think that, oh gosh, I won't have to go through that. Clearly, 60 to 65% of the people will have to go through this. It's not always to the degree where the entity is causing you physical damage like it is with Vincent right now. But it can just tell you to turn left while you're driving, or turn right while you're driving, or stomp on the accelerator pedal and and storm through that busy trafficy intersection and cause an accident, which I've seen them do with people. I know that they have done this and caused an accident and caused injury and damage and things of this nature. So it's very, very, very important for your passion, your passionate acceptance of Kundalini and all of the different tests that the Kundalini will bring you. Let this passion sustain you through these difficult times. The interest and the passion and the wherewithal to find that level of energy, to find that level of composure that allows you to be mindful of your body and its position on this world, inside your clothing, inside your life, your job, your car, your apartment, your house. I mean, to find that level of passion and to find that level of Kundalini validation, that even though you're being attacked, you can still find the gratitude and the graciousness to give to your Kundalini inside of the devotional practice. Very important. I'm going to come up here to Santara. And hi, Santara.
Hi, Chrism.
Were you listening at all?
Can you hear me?
Your own little private conversation?
No, I was listening.
So what do you have to add to Vincent's scenario?
Oh, wow. Well, I don't know if I have anything to add, Chrism, but I certainly feel it's really important, that aspect of understanding what ignoring an entity means. And to spend time considering that, you know, it does not mean that you allow or that you just give up. You know, that peaceful resistance you spoke about, that's really important to understand what ignoring means. And the other thing I would say to him is, Vincent, just, you know, Chrism has huge experience in this, huge experience with entities, and therefore, you know, you will possibly and probably find a resistance to some of the things that he says or suggests. And I would say to you, trust his instruction, trust what he's going to, you know, tell you to do, because he really is experienced in this, and experienced in it in relation to Kundalini and entities, and not just entities that control thoughts, but entities that have, with other people, also taken over motor movements. So he knows his stuff, Vincent. So, you know, it's a blessing that he is here and that he is going to communicate with you. That's about all, really, Chrism, that I have to add.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to lift my head up now that it's so huge and heavy. No. God.
Well, it is important, though, because I know when a person has entities, there is always a resistance to doing something different, because the person will think, but I'm doing the best, you know, things. So it's hugely important that in some way, you know, taking your big head out of it, a person trusts that you know from your experience and really surrenders to your instruction.
For those that have just joined us, and I see a few folks have just joined us, the woman you're hearing talk right now is Santara Kundalini, and I'm Chrism, and we also have Elizabeth and Brooke and Rosemary and Joey and Vincent on the phones, as well as you know, quite a few of the people from the groups that are in the chat room right now. That beautiful Irish lilt that you just heard was from Santara, and I want you to feel free to call in. Anybody that wants to call in and ask a question, the number is 347-934-0026. That's area code 347-934-0026. And I want to thank you, Santara, for adding that in. And
actually, I have one other thing.
Sure.
And that is, that is to be passionate as, that's what we're discussing here as well, to be passionate about the work that has to be done, because, it takes effort and passion and a decision to do that as well, Chrism. So I think Vincent is going to be well up for that. So blessings to Vincent and to you.
And
Can I give out now?
Say again? What?
Can I give out the website now that people can go to if they would like to make a donation?
Sure.
I forgot to give it last week. Thanks. If anybody would like to make a donation to support this work, because Chrism doesn't charge for any of his teachings, he asks for nothing in that regard, but donations are gratefully received. You can head over to www.chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com. That's www.chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com, and there you will find a donate button, and it's easy peasy after that. Thank you very much, Chrism.
And thank you, Sanchara. Thank you for the announcement and everything as well. Okay, putting you in the Shiva blue, and I want to come on over here to Miss Robertson here. Hello, is Brooke Robertson available?
Hi.
Hey, what have you experienced with regards to what we're talking about as far as having passion and the wherewithal to pull yourself together even while you're inside of a really, really hurtful type of processing environment? How have you been able to come to terms with that?
Well, I was just thinking, you feel like parts of you are being sort of, I don't know, sometimes this is so intense, like just listening to Vincent and seeing his situation there, it can feel like you're being sort of, it can feel like it's destructive, like it's a destructive process going on that is actually part of the refinement. And sometimes I know for myself, when I'm in that pattern where it feels, my ego thinks it's destructive, I get sort of discouraged. And so, because you think, well, this isn't peaceful serenity, spiritual blissness. This is like this is feeling like I'm being destroyed here, or the challenges are so intense that you feel that there are pieces of you being destroyed, and it can affect your self-worth or your self-esteem. And I think that's kind of all part of the Shakti plan, where these parts and bits of your personality or your psychology are being broken down through this process, which appears to be destructive, but is actually part of the refinement. So, just knowing that feels a little bit more where you can get the passion back and get your head around it a little bit more, rather than feeling like you're just being beat up, and giving up. You can begin to see it in those ways. So those are my thoughts on that, just right off.
Nice. Very, very nice. I couldn't agree more. So thank you. Thank you for that, Brooke. And put you in the Shiva blue here and come on over to Her Holiness in the northern part of Washington State. Okay. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm doing really good. Aranya wanted to just remind that all of this process is designed to bring the attention back to the divine. And she's been talking to me about this, during the activation, even after spinal sweeps, fragmentations and things being removed from a person's life can be for that individual a way to draw their attention away from ego-based things and lead them towards the divine. And you said something so important, the 24/7 mindfulness of the Kundalini. That's what is required. And she keeps telling me, the surrender and the heartfelt devotion and prayer to the divine, and the focus being away from the ego and placed on the divine, happens and speeds up so much more after the activation, during the activation, even after spinal sleep. It's all geared to lead toward the divine, so that a person, and the things being taken away, she was saying, like, if taking away, and everyone is different, but taking away friends, taking away family, taking away employment, depending on the individual equation, it's done to help bring the focus of the ego away from the ego and draw it back toward the divine reality. So not everybody needs the same degree of that for the same period of time, or whether it be that they need the entity interaction or they don't, or that, depending on their karma. But all of it, she just kept reminding that 24/7 that you're talking about, that mindfulness, it's all designed to take your focus away from yourself and put that on your Kundalini, and have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where you are in service to the Kundalini and letting the divine work through you. And that's
very
why.
nice. Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. I couldn't agree with that more. I agree with that 100%. And people may think, oh my God, it's so hard to have to think about something 24/7. Oh my God, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I have to tell you, if you come 50% of that way, and the Kundalini, she typically will come 50% of that way back to you. And it's not hard. It is not hard. It's just that you begin to restructure how you process the information that your life provides you through the Kundalini, rather than through your old mundane egotistical self. It's not difficult at all. It just takes a bit of passion and a bit of practice to really put yourself into that position, and then follow through over and over and over. It's perpetual follow through is what we're talking about with this. Perpetual follow through, where you take that passion, you take that drive, you take that wherewithal within you, that strength within you. And as Laranya and Elizabeth said, you passionately give it to the Kundalini. You passionately give it through devotion into your relationship with the Kundalini. Forget about the phenomena that the entity, or the entities, as in plural, will try to do to interrupt your focus. And to some degree, the Kundalini will help you not allow them to disrupt your focus. If she sees you struggling, she may step in. It's no guarantee. But whether or not, you keep your focus glued onto the Kundalini, and not these distractions that the Kundalini is allowing you to learn from. I want to thank you, Elizabeth, and I'd like to thank Laranya as well. And I just want to open up the microphone for her if she has more that she would like to add.
I think the only other thing she wanted to say, she was saying earlier how much, and this I'm not just, how much she is in support of Chrism and of this work, and of the truth being out, and of the Kundalini being talked about, and how important it is to have a place where people can listen, where people can go, where people can talk, and all come together about this. And that's the only other thing I wanted to say, because she made that really clear earlier when I was asking about this distraction thing, and she just basically was just very, again, saying how much the service to this, how important it is, because it's truth being brought into a public arena where without this, so many people would not be helped, and this service would not be getting out to so many. So that's the only other thing I wanted to add.
Well, I just want to thank you, Elizabeth, and to thank Laranya, the sacred spider, for the blessings that the two of you shower down upon the people here on this program, but also the people on the many groups that you're moderator of. Without people like you and Santara, Elizabeth, and I mean, this would be a very, very, very different program. Very, very different program, and the groups would not be anywhere near as good. So I want to thank you both, you and Santara, and Heli, and the other moderators. Brooke is a moderator. Magdalene is a moderator. I'd like to thank all of the moderators for the different groups that we have, and I just want, it's a blessing to work with you and to work for the Kundalini with you. So thank you, Elizabeth and Laranya.
Thank you. It's such an honor.
All right. And now I want to move it on. Well, Santara, I want you to take the microphone, okay? I'm going to put you out here for a second. I got to get permission for a certain thing here first, so I'm going to go off.
Oh, okay. Chrism has gone off and has handed me the microphone, which means that I have to tap dance here for a while. So I would just like at this point maybe to bring in Rosemary, and let's have her, 1 second here, let's have her introduce the seminar. Hello, is that you, Rosemary? Okay, no, that's not Rosemary. Let me just try here.
Hang on. I got my permission. Now, are you asking Rosemary to do her announcements?
No, it's okay. Go ahead. We'll do that later.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to come back over here. And, Brooke, you had a dream last night, did you not?
Yes, I had a dream last night. So
I know we sound like... in regards to the topic that we're discussing today with the passion and the gumption of the Kundalini, can you relate to the audience your dream and how it applies to the Kundalini process?
The dream was for myself, and I was walking down a little sort of cobblestone street with all these families, very much similar to something you'd see in maybe Peru, or that families were out in their own little quarter sections, and I was just walking down and looking at all the different people out, and I came across this one young girl who was in her front yard playing basketball. And this relates to me because I did play ball all my life. I played in college, and obviously it's the Kundalini speaking to me through my own understanding, I guess. But this young girl was, I could see that she was very, very talented. She had this raw potential. And I walked up to her and I started speaking with her and asking her, do you like the sport? And, and I was talking with her and I said, would you ever want to play college basketball? And she said, yeah, I would. And I asked her, I will start working with you on a daily basis, because to play college basketball, you'd have to put in a lot of practice and a lot of effort and a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of hard work to get to that level. And as I started working with her on a daily basis, I could see that here was this young girl who had all this potential and all this talent, but it wasn't refined. And she did not have, by the, certain number of times that I started working with her, I could tell that she didn't really have in her the passion or the drive to meet that level of potential that was inside of her to a point of actual expression. And it was kind of sad, because here you see this beautiful thing, and you see the person is not giving the efforts necessary to actually allow it to come to fruition. So that was basically part of the dream. And obviously I took a big message from my own Kundalini on that one when I woke up. But yeah.
What message did you take?
Well, I think there's a need for more passion and more commitment and more drive and more gumption. I keep getting the word gumption, all night and this morning. Like, that needs to be put into my level of trust, my level of commitment, my level of dedication to what is being offered and what the potential outcome could be for only myself.
This really ties in with Vincent's scenario, too. I feel a direct tie-in with that.
I do, and earlier I tried to explain it. I don't know if because I feel like, Vincent, we can get to the point where we're like, well, I'm doing everything I can do. I mean, what more do you? I'm dribbling the basketball. I'm doing these drills. I'm doing, but there's, when I receive a dream like this, obviously there's more to do. But I think the thing, it ties with Vincent, is that we can get discouraged. We can lose sight of, this beautiful gift that is being given to us, and it's then in those moments where we need to remember where that passion is and be almost our own inspiration in those moments, so that the passion can be there and we can give it in a more full way, in a more full way, so that we don't get discouraged. When we get discouraged, those entities will go right. They were looking for that. They want that.
Exactly.
So there's one aspect where I feel like it ties in with him, because I could feel some little bit of discouragement in his voice.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Brooke Robertson, for coming on the program and sharing the dream, and really, I think, giving people some excellent advice. From you, from Elizabeth Laranja Santara, very, very, very powerful level of information has been given, and I think that's why I had so much passion out of doing this second show on passion. I just think there was a whole other level of information to be given, and I want to thank you, Brooke, for giving your information on this program.
Thanks, Chrism. Thank you.
And coming into the blue with that, now I would love to go over to Rosemary, if she'll let me. There she goes. Hey, Rosemary.
Hi there, Chrism. Thank you. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for all the wonderful direction today, the clarity in what you're saying, and the others too. I don't believe I have entities, but I have my ego to deal with, so it comes up in those ways as well. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and really the one to thank is the Kundalini for sure.
Yes.
I want to thank you for all of the work, and I just in case people don't understand, Rosemary and Joey Frost are part of the Kundalini continuum in the Minnesota region of the Twin Cities. There is a Minnesota Kundalini community, and Rosemary is the head of that community. And if you ever want to contact her, her number is 651-452-3161. If you're living in the Twin Cities area or in the Minnesota area and you want to participate in the Minnesota Kundalini community, please get a hold of Rosemary there. And Rosemary, do you have announcements you'd like to share?
I do. I want to include, even in the way we're speaking of this conversation today, to say this can be truly, it was Kundalini guidance that got me into the seminar that I was in. Coming up now, it's going to be 5 years, and it was totally that guidance. I didn't have any sense of, oh yes, this is going to be exciting, or this will impact me the rest of my life. Nothing like that. I just it wasn't blindly, but I just followed what I was given inwardly, and I didn't have that relationship with Kundalini as I have now. But so I encourage everyone, please, to give that some thought. And this seminar here is the fourth one that we're doing in 2 years at the kindness of our teacher to come and be with us, which is very inspiring to me. And here we are going to be at Inspiring Land as well, a prairie that's partly restored but partly original, and amazing energy that's there. And we will be there for 2 days, and we have all that we need in this barn of where the meeting room is and all the other aspects that we need. Plus, also, if you're a camper, there is a place where you can plug in and be camping there as well. And this is about 50 miles south of the Twin Cities. And the dates are July 9th and 10th. It's 5 weeks away probably. And we have some rooms for a little bit into the month in Cannon Falls. So it's it's near Cannon Falls. My information is I'm delighted to share with you about this, rosemaryg@usinternet.com, and the phone number Chrism already gave. I'll give you my cell phone number too, 651-329-9615. And especially I'd like to mention, Chrism, I haven't talked about it here too much, but we have a special group rate for people of 3 or more that it became clear to us, us beginners, I would say, how much easier it is, how we are contributed to by having others to talk with and connect with about this experience. So if 3 people come that are family, that know each other, or friends or colleagues, whatever, and they are in the seminar together, we have a reduced rate for them, and to provide this gift of one another through doing the seminar together. So call me about that.
Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you for that. And definitely give Rosemary a call at 651-452-3161 if you would like to participate in the, it's weird, the word that comes to me is Pliocene or Pleistocene Kundalini, because that, hopefully that piece of land back there, the original aspect was as original as it is today, 1,000 years ago. There should still be passenger pigeon poop in that soil somewhere. certainly buffalo poop. Anyway, not that we're going to be looking for those areas, but yeah. If you're in the Minnesota or if you're in any part of the world and you would like to come to a Kundalini Awakening seminar, you give Rosemary a call, 651-452-3161. And thank you, Rosemary, for making your announcement.
Thank you.
And moving onward in the program today, I would like to bring Santara back online and see if she has...
I'm coming on now.
Are you coming on now, you say?
There's a warning goes out, you see, here. I'm coming on now, so everybody, stops breathing.
I'm sorry, O'Connor family, for bringing us upon you. Oh, my God.
I'm only smiling because it's John O'Connor decided to get up and leave the room at this very point. So that'll be noisy on his return, perhaps. But okay, I do have a few questions, Chrism.
All right.
And one of them is long. Well, not that long, but it came in a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't see it until now. So for the person, I would like to read the whole thing. So here we go. If you could please ask Master Chrism the following question on the radio show. I had a spinal sweep on the 1st of August, 2008. I was doing Sahaj Marj meditation with a proctor, and suddenly an energy forced up my spine to my head. There was a cracking noise at the base of my skull. I lost my breath and felt like falling into a dark abyss. My breathing stopped, and I was so scared that I shouted loudly, "Stop, stop," and opened my eyes. The proctor couldn't understand what was happening and couldn't help, and I stopped doing this meditation. However, after 1 week of this incident, I suddenly and instantaneously developed pain in my cervical neck one morning. It came out of nowhere, and this has altered my life, as I landed with severe pain in my neck, arms, and numbness, twitchings, and currents in the neck area. Over the years, I have suffered acutely with these symptoms, going even to the bottom of my spine. I am in pain 24/7. I had many years filled with anxiety. My blood pressure used to be always high in the past 3 to 4 years. Medications do not have any effect. At times, I feel totally disconnected from the material world, and I live in a different space. Pain has reached my knees also. I prefer solitude, and I want to only meditate. Sometimes I feel a lot of peace and grace. However, amidst all of this confusion, my normal life has got affected. Can Master Chrism guide me how to balance my life?
This is going to sound way too easy.
The end.
This is going to sound way too easy, but the first thing I need to say is, and this goes across the board for anyone, do not do sahaja meditations or sahaja yoga or sahaja kundalini. Do not do this. Okay. Sahaja is spelled S-A-H-A-J-A, I believe. Sahaja. Or any spelling that resembles that. Do not do these meditations. This group does not understand the Kundalini as much as they announce that they do. They don't. But the proctor is an excellent example of not being able to help anybody. Basically, they want you to give your life savings, your house, your car, your adulation, your devotion to their leader woman person. I'm not even going to give you her name, but she can be distinguished by the shotgun blast of a bindu dot over her third eye, because hey, you don't want a small one because she's the head person. She's got to have a ginormous hole where her third eye is, and that's always the first red flag to come up with people that are really promoting themselves as being Kundalini awakened. Well, they get the really, really large red spots on their third eye. So don't do any of the sahaja work. Don't do any of that work, because you'll wind up like this person. Okay, you'll wind up inside of a world of pain with no recourse, or very little recourse for a certain period of time. Okay, I'm gonna, for this individual, the first thing that my Kundalini is telling her to do is to take the picture that I have on my Facebook page, the guy with the beard and the glasses. And she needs to stare into those eyes. And she needs to ask her Kundalini to give itself a healing within her. And she needs to do this over and over and over for a good 45 minutes. Staring into that picture and asking the Kundalini to give itself a healing inside her. Are you getting that, Centaur? I'm afraid to click you into red because I don't know if you guys are having a conversation. So that is one of the first things that I would have her do. And for everybody else that's listening, don't do the sahaja work at all. Do not do that work at all. It is a trap. It is a trap, and it is a trap that has fairly strong consequences if people are allowed to fall into that program. It's not to say that that you'll be damaged beyond reparation. That's not true. I mean, this woman here can be easily helped, and the one thing she really wants to focus on right now is putting that tongue tip behind the upper front teeth. So as she is going throughout her day, she needs to have that tongue tip behind the upper front teeth, and to keep that connection current as much as she can. Okay, this provides that tongue chakra is like a master switch between the cranial aspects of the Kundalini, including the third eye and the seventh chakra, and the fifth chakra on down to the first, connects the whole system. And so it's very important for her to keep that tongue tip up behind the upper front teeth. So that's number 2. And number 1 was to really go into a devotion, staring into the eyes of that guy that we'll just call Chrism Kundalini, and let his Kundalini work with her Kundalini to give her a healing within the Kundalini program that's been invited by her into fruition. So, do you understand that? You there,
yes,
Amelia?
Prism, I'm hearing you. Yeah, I'm hearing that. Yes, thank you.
And it is a man. Why did you write "it is a man"?
I don't think you're referring to the speaker as a lady or a woman. She. It may be a man.
Oh, well, thank you. Them. We'll just call them them. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what she needs to do right off the bat. That will have definite effect for her.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very
Next
much, Chrism.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Okay. Next question. Okay, do you think there is a connection, this was on the group, between awakening people and various mental health issues like bipolar and ADHD? I know we've spoken about it before, but it comes up regularly, Chrism.
Well, yeah, definite connections. It's science. You know, science reaches out to try to quantify everything that it can. And what it can't quantify, therefore, doesn't exist. And so with regards to these people having bipolarism, schizophrenia, ADHD, all these different conditions that science describes, basically can come from a single source, and that would be the Kundalini. And if science were open enough to be able to accept and to validate situations like Kundalini awakening in a human being, this world would be a much more peaceful place with regards to those that are having it, because they wouldn't necessarily have to be sent to a psych ward. They wouldn't necessarily have to be put on some sort of a deleterious chemical concoction for the rest of their lives, because science is in its infancy. Actually, it's in the embryonic state when it comes to being able to understand Kundalini or to be able to even validate its existence. And so, yeah, there's a definite tie-in with ADHD, with certainly with schizophrenia and bipolarism. That's the typical diagnoses from medical industry professionals that basically say, a person comes and says, I think I'm having a Kundalini awakening, and the first thing they do is they reach for their online Merck manual, and that online Merck manual will say, spiritual emergency. And here are the drugs that we recommend for a person having a spiritual emergency, and it's usually the heaviest and hardest levels of tranquilizer that they can find. Depakote being one of those. So yeah, they're definitely intertwined. They definitely have the possibility of the Kundalini as a source for this. Much of the time, though, these ADHD, bipolarism, schizophrenia, these are basic misunderstandings of science about Kundalini phenomena. Because you see, if you're a scientist, you can't accept the existence of entities because you can't measure them and you can't replicate them. And so therefore, according to science, they don't exist. So how are you going to deal with somebody having entities scientifically if the science says they don't exist? You see, that's the problem. That's the problem your MD is going to have. That's the problem the psychotherapist is going to have. their training indicates that these things don't exist, and therefore they cannot treat them within the paradigm of a real existing scenario. And so, the scientists will scoff and say, oh, it's just your imagination that you're having an entity that's slamming your head into the bus stop, Vincent. That's just your imagination. Here, let me give you some of this Depakote. Then you won't have an imagination to imagine things with. Or some such thing. So, yeah, science has a big problem with it, and therefore they try to couch their misunderstandings in terms that deal with very, very, very specific phenomena. So, you'll have the ADHD, or you'll have the schizophrenia, or you'll have the bipolarism, any of the other psychological issues such as eating disorders, or what's that other one where you have to have the picture on the wall perfectly straight? What is that?
OCD, obsessive compulsive.
Yeah, obsessive compulsive disorder. They call that a disorder. Now, granted, if you're licking doorknobs or constantly washing your hands, I can see where that might get in the way of your health and things of that you can call that a health disorder. But basically, if you start looking at it from a Kundalini perspective, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. And you just, we just live in a time where science does not have any interest or any understanding or even the desire or the need to explore the inner areas of spiritual humanity to find information about the Kundalini. They have to get it secondhand through people like me, and then they make up their own interesting little names for it, and they devise their own little prescriptions and drugs, to try to stop the interaction or to stop the phenomena rather than going to the source, learning about the source, and giving people healthy alternatives. Okay, they just try to kind of contaminate the person with chemicals and mistaken understandings like, oh, you're sick and you're going to be sick for the rest of your life, and because you're going to be sick for the rest of your life, you're going to have to take this drug for the rest of your life. They really put the fear spin on it to scare people into following their advice. It can be just as simple as looking at a picture and saying a prayer. But that's not scientifically provable, and so of course that's not going to happen. But it can be that simple. Over.
Okay, Chrism, thank you. The next question comes in two parts because it was on the group. Okay, so a person says, I have lost touch with my sense that points the way to the truth. I am stuck now in a world of humiliation and hate. My health suffers a lot, as well as there isn't a slight sense of love. Is there a liberation method you can show me to get back to myself? And then another comment below that from this person was, I did a self-sabotage act to get here. I didn't have an I, as in me, that I. So it was possible to clear my mind for everything that was stuck. All the energy available was used to spear the center of consciousness with happenings from the past, from feeling universal love to hate and desire for the unspeakable. Now there is an I which hasn't been there since an ego death in the last year of my teens. It is blinding me and I can't see.
The light is blinding her so she can't see? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, it is blinding me. I think the person is saying, I don't know. That second one is a little bit confusing for me, Chrism. But I wanted to read it in conjunction. I don't know.
Well, I would say...
Now there is an I which hasn't been there since the ego death in the last year of my teens, and it is blinding me. I can't see. Sounds like a contradiction.
Well, I find it interesting that they say things, they phrase things like, that hasn't been there since the ego death in my late teens. Well, if the ego died in the late teens, which I'm not buying at all, if the ego died in the late teens, how come they're having to have all this animosity, hatred, and all of this currently? Obviously, the ego has not died.
Yeah.
So their premise is a little bit off for me, but that can also just be due to their condition right now. I'm not buying the ego death, first of all, not at all. Maybe that's when ego refinement was started, and perhaps that is the case with them. But I'm certainly not going to go out there and call that an ego death. I will call that, let's just call it a focus on the ego that hadn't been there before. With regards to the situation at home, I will give them the same advice that I gave to the woman about staring into the picture. Some things can only be done Kundalini to Kundalini. And when a person is staring into that picture, into the eyes of that picture, and saying a prayer to the Kundalini to give them assistance, that's Kundalini to Kundalini. Chrism isn't a part of that at all, except as a conduit, an irrigation pipe, basically, something that you would water your tomatoes with.
I can affirm that. But yeah, that's an important point, though, isn't it, Chrism? About the devotion and using the picture. Maybe can you say a bit more about that for people?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, can you say a bit more about that? Not me.
So you're asking me to go into more about the picture, right? Shall we call it the picture?
I am actually, because
the
because we spoke about devotion with I'm dipping it. Go ahead.
The Pico Pat. The picture. I found out early on back in 2006 that a very specific picture taken in a very specific time in my Kundalini activity and awakening by Francine here at the ashram had the ability to really jump into other people's equations and healing equations and to give a healing. And so for years and years and years, this was referred to as the healing picture. And on the Yahoo group and in some of the other groups that I have on the internet, that picture was used to initiate a healing process within the individual. When you look at the picture, you can kind of see that one eye is very, very sincerely staring right at you, but the other eye is somewhere else. And that somewhere else is the Kundalini. Okay? And that Kundalini has the ability to go outside of physics and outside of science and outside of the expected formats of interaction with material-based life forms. And it has the ability to go from itself within that picture straight into that person's Kundalini or healing equation and have positive effect. And so basically that has been built on. I tried different photographs. It all happened the same way. So I know that it's the Kundalini itself within the awakened person that has it that is reaching out into these people and causing positive, typically positive phenomena to occur. I've never had a bad phenomena occur for a person. It's been of a healing or loving or an interaction based in health and a greater level of Kundalini processing within that person's individual program or agenda with the Kundalini. The photographs do work. I can't deny it. As much as a part of me would like to say, yeah, don't look at my picture. It's not going to do you any favors. I can't say that.
Yeah.
I
know you.
You look at the picture, you're going to get nightmares. If you have clown or Santa Claus issues, you're going to have nightmares. I don't know.
I have to say, I love the fact that you really are quite uncomfortable on some level with the picture, but you go ahead because it's from the Kundalini. It's not from you, you see, Chrism. So it's from the Kundalini that has given this to people as a way of helping and supporting them in their equation. And as somebody who has used the picture, I can confirm this is absolutely true. It's Kundalini to Kundalini. It's a very beautiful thing, and I'm glad you explained it because maybe people listening haven't heard of this before.
Well, yeah, no, I understand that. But it's the same thing with the writing as well, and the music, the singing. She puts herself into everything that I do, everything. And I have students that, I'll go to a seminar and, talk with students. They'll say, well, yeah, you said this and this and this over at a BlogTalk radio program, and I tried that, and, well, this, and that, and it's not quite working the way you said. So I'm constantly being approached by people that are trying out the information that the Kunalini through me is giving them and giving me an opportunity to either correct the way they're doing, like, many times people will do the 5 Tibetans and they'll spin to the left with the first Tibetan, which is totally the wrong way. But they'll spin to the left and they'll get sick, as they should. And they'll come back to me and say, those 5 Tibetans really blow, Chrism. You shouldn't even be putting that out there. And I'll have an opportunity to say, well, how have you been doing them? And they'll say, well, the first thing I do is spin to the left, like you said. And, of course, I'll say, well, no, you want to spin to the right. Always spin to the right. And then, they'll kind of see maybe perhaps the error of their ways and of their technique. And maybe not always, people get locked into their anger and into their resentment, especially when it comes to spiritual phenomena and spiritual practice. And so not everybody is open to being corrected in that way, but some will be, and they listen to it and they go, oh gosh, okay, I'll try it, and typically when they try it the way that the Shakti within me has described it to be done, they will have positive experiences for it. I'm just one person in a world of billions, and because I'm not charging, I don't have the wherewithal to advertise myself, and I'm not even sure I would. Since all of the crazy stuff, people started writing crazy things about me. Since all of that occurred, I tend to just let the Shakti bring to herself those people that she wants to bring to herself, and that's I think that's how you and I were introduced, wasn't it, Centaura?
Oh, the Shakti certainly brought you as my teacher to me, Chrism, and yeah, absolutely.
But you had to scope me out for a year, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes and no. I mean, I came across the group and instantly there was a resonance. I mean, it made sense to me. It was perfect. My Kundalini responded and I contacted you. That would have been in June. And then I went and I met you in February for the first time. But I was pushed to meet you, by my Kundalini. And I think, you're talking about passion. It was the passion from my Kundalini that pushed me. I had never in my life got on a plane on my own before. I had to overcome a lot of things to do that. And that's why sometimes when seminars are being advertised and, you're going to be giving a seminar, say, in Minnesota or in Berlin next September, and people go, oh, yeah, I would really encourage people to listen to that and to follow through and to get over any hurdles or perceived things that might prevent them and make the commitment to come. Because sometimes it isn't easy. I think getting to a seminar, for example, is like a pilgrimage. And pilgrimages aren't necessarily easy. So once you make the commitment, I think that journey towards a seminar begins. And it was very much like that with me with you as my teacher. We had communicated. I read your articles. I recognized through the grace of my own Kundalini the truth in what you were teaching. And she wanted me to have that information. And it was through your teachings and your guidance that a lot of my refinement took place. I mean, my refinement was happening, but the way that I negotiated it was through your teachings and personal instruction. And that was something that my Kundalini really wanted for me. And it was a matter of listening to that inner teacher and allowing you to become my outer teacher, if that makes sense. Because you kind of speak with the one voice to me.
Yeah. No, I hear you, and I want to qualify that a little bit with regards to the me-ness of Chrism doing this and Chrism doing that. It's the Kundalini inside Chrism that is compelling him to write these things, to sing these songs, to do this radio program, to write and to reach out. It's the Kundalini that is doing this. And I understand that it comes from the container that we'll call Chrism. But it is the Kundalini that is inside Centaura that compels her. It's the Kundalini inside Elizabeth that compels her to do the things that she does. It's the Kundalini within Rosemary. It's the Kundalini within Vincent that allows that entity to come through. It's the Kundalini that is allowing this whole dance to take place. And it's the Kundalini that is bringing your ear to this program right now. Those of you that are listening in the archives or listening right now or listening on the chat group here. It's your Kundalini that is calling the shots for this show. It's just allowing certain containers to contain aspects of itself.
Yeah.
So just over.
Yeah.
Next question.
Well, that was a little segue. Okay. Next question. I don't understand one thing about the Kundalini awakening. Why will be... Okay, let me begin again. I'm just rephrasing it here. Okay. I don't understand this thing about the Kundalini awakening. Why is it spoken about a snake and snake energy? We all know that the snake deceived Adam and Eve for doing a sin, which God had created first. Can anybody answer my question, please? So, the snake reference and Adam and Eve and that.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Sorry for my falling over that question.
We go. Diving into Christianity. Okay.
Yeah, but there are a lot of Christians, Chrism, so
No.
This is what I've been taught. Yeah.
No worries. This is where the Kunalini comes in, and she cautions me. She says, "Careful now. Be kind. Be gentle. Very careful." Adam, of course, represents sacred male. Eve, of course, represents sacred female. As far as Kundalini is concerned, there is no original sin. There is no sin for being born. Okay. There is, however, a fall from grace. And the fall from grace is basically incarnating in a physical body. You're falling from grace. You're falling from a spiritual life form to a physical spiritual life form. And that physical spiritual life form is contained within a program of 5 physical senses and Kundalini buried at the base of the spine, waiting for levels of refinement to awaken it. So the snake reference is basically the spinal cord standing on its tail. Everybody has an S-curve to their spinal cord, and that is the ancients saw that as a representation of a serpent standing on its tail, typically a king cobra standing on its tail. Okay? So that's where the snake references come from, but also the Kundalini lends itself to the snake reference by giving people visions and dreams of interactions with serpents. Okay, you'll be interacting with serpents every night for a certain amount of time. You'll have serpents crawling on your feet. You'll be very, very much part of a process that allows serpents or worms or spiders or birds or butterflies to come into your light in a very real, tactile way, far and away different from what other people would experience, unawakened people would experience. You'll have bees and wasps landing on you. Now, the whole idea with the serpent and Lucifer and the devil and the tree of life and Eve eating the apple, which is so reminiscent of Snow White, but I'm just not going to go there right now. And Eve being created from Adam's rib, and yikes, so many of the falsehoods. But anyway, so the knowledge of the tree, the tree of knowledge, right, Amelia? Am I getting that right? The tree of knowledge, the knowledge of life and death. God forbid them to eat that apple. And of course, Eve, being really hungry one day, decided that red apple looked really good. And red, in a certain context, represents the first chakra. So basically, the church elders decided to reinvent some of the scriptures in Genesis and some of these areas to put a twist on the heavenly demand that you do not partake of the tree of life and death, which basically is saying don't partake of the Kundalini. Don't partake of the Kundalini. And that a snake is offering it to you, to the woman, to the sacred feminine. The snake is offering it to the sacred feminine. Basically, it's sacred feminine offering it to sacred feminine. It has nothing to do with the devil or with Lucifer, or it has a lot more to do with la vouivre. If you look at the French word la vouivre, V-O-I-V-R-E, V as in Victor, O-I, V as in Victor, R-E, that is the serpent taking human form, the human form taking serpent form. So a half snake, half human embodiment of divinity. And basically, if the church elders had decided to get it right, they would have encouraged people to eat of the tree of life and death and to begin that ascension process that Amelia and Brooke and Magdalene and Vincent and Rosemary and Joey and basically everybody that is participating in this program is a part of. You have taken the bite of that red apple. That red apple just happens to be the first chakra. And so, from a Christian context, you have to really begin to look at Christianity with open eyes, rather than with eyes that have been glued shut by the writings of specific individuals with specific agenda. Since gosh, at least 4,000 years, human femininity has been trampled upon. Human femininity, sacred femininity, has been trampled on, has been castigated, has been destroyed, has been hurt, has been damaged, has been given the cause of all of the destruction that humanity has experienced up to this point. And all of that blame is being placed upon human woman or femininity. And it's just a crock of shit. I'm sorry. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm not sorry at all for that statement.
No, you're not.
I'm not sorry at all. I'm sorry if I'm stepping on people's belief systems, sacred belief systems, and I'm sorry, but not everything that was written to the tune of sacred spirituality is correct. It wasn't correct to throw living babies on a fire dedicated to the god Baal. It wasn't right to do that either, but they went ahead and did it. Okay, so not everything that has been written by ancient peoples with regards to spirituality is correct. And I will tell you what, that whole Garden of Eden scenario means something very, 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 very different than what the King James Version of the Bible is putting out. Extremely different. And yet here are people. People are just, they're asking me questions that are based on a lie, and they want me to tell the truth of that lie based upon their own belief system. And they want me to tell it to them couched in the terminology and the religiosity of that belief system. And so it's forcing me to assume that Eve was the progenitor of everything evil that has happened to humanity, and I just don't go there. I don't agree with that at all. So for me, the premise is actually way off when we talk about Adam and Eve, and so I'll basically stick to the idea that the spine and all the branches of nerves coming to the spine are a reflection of the tree of life and death within us. And that the serpent that is offering us the first chakra, or the red apple that Eve ostensibly ate of, is really the sacred inner self offering itself to us. And that she bit it and got Adam and Eve kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Well, the Garden of Eden, you were basically asleep the whole time. Everybody that is not Kundalini awakened right now is living in some aspect of the Garden of Eden. Basically, ignorance is the Garden of Eden. Ignorance. Ignorance about who a person is, how a person is, why a person is, where that person is. And that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to spread that ignorance. And so for that person, if you're listening to that show, for the person that answered this question or asked this question, there are much, much further levels of study for people to go if they're just couching their reality based upon a belief system with an agenda such as Christianity that is mistaken in some of its very, very primary aspects as given into society today. If Christianity were and the Christian elders were to turn around and say, "Oh, look, we were mistaken. This part of the Bible, was misinterpreted, and God is really reaching into your spine and wanting you to be as Jesus is, or to walk as God is, and to make those corrections and to bring that information into the population, it'd be great. But I don't see that happening. Too much power and too much greed for power is obfuscating the truth of Christianity, the truth of Buddhism, the truth of Mohammedanism, the truth of Hinduism. People and their egos get in and begin to disrupt what is the truth. And they begin to couch their own desires of an egoic nature as the truth instead of the truth of divinity coming through them. Looks like I've got 1 minute and 40 seconds left. Do you have anything you'd like to say to the people, Santara?
No, Chrism, but thank you for that. No, just to say I really enjoyed the show. Thank you, Vincent, for your contribution as well. It was a great teaching for a lot of us to hear your conversation. And I look forward, maybe, if he's able to ring back in again next week, if that's possible. So see everybody next week. That's all for me. Thank you.
And I'd like to make the announcement that on September 3rd and 4th in the country of Germany, in the city of Berlin, we will be having a seminar there with the venue to be announced. And for those of you in Europe, I invite you wholeheartedly to come and to develop your Kundalini connections with your Kundalini community. And I'll go ahead and I want to thank Vincent and Brooke and Elizabeth and Santara and Joey and everybody else who came and participated in this show today. And here we go.